Okay, guys, sorry for that slight 3 minute delay. Welcome to Behind the Shot, where top visual storytellers share their best three shots, or photos, or videos, or clips, or segments, and the stories behind them. Behind the Shot is brought to you by Deity microphones. And I use these guys in the field. Right now I'm using the D3 Pro, and you know what? I'm going to make a video out of this. What are the types of mics that I use for all my videos here in my blog? So for everyone who's watching, happy Friday. We just ended our first week on GCQ. So for you guys who are watching during the commute home, I mean, not driving, take care. And for those who are watching from their home, sit tight. It's going to be a very swell episode with our super cool guest for today. Right. So we already have some guys over in YouTube. So if you guys are watching on Facebook, I would recommend that you head on over to YouTube. It's much better there, friendlier place, and people are more candid with their comment. So we have Argil from last week, Camacho, who is here, one of the fans of our guest today. We have our guest, actually, you know, make what's he doing? There. You're replying to the guys who are in the chat. Okay, and then we have Mabel Damavivas, who is again watching since the first episode. So thanks, Mabel. Hashtag always supportive. So, guys, my name is Noel Guevara. I am a conservation and wildlife photographer and filmmaker. You want to see my work? It's right there on Instagram, Noel Guevara Photo. So check it out. Please give a follow if you like what you see. What you have right now is Behind the Shot. It's one of the shows that I have here on my YouTube channel. Behind the Shot is a live online talk show, as you already know, where I feature photographers, videographers, and other storytellers that have great stories that they want to share. At the same time, I also have shows such as Hammerhead Gearhead, which is a gear review show. I also have my not epic, but travel videos. I also have tutorials and whatnot on my YouTube channel. All of these are really meant for as a sort of device or vehicle for me to be able to share conservation or wildlife info and data facts and what have you. So if you like what you're seeing, please like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It will go a long way in supporting Behind the Shot and all the other things that I do. In fact, I'm coming out with a mini documentary at the end of this month about elephants and conservation. So having more people watching this will greatly amplify the reach of that message. Cool. So this week, all right, we had our landscape week. So first we had Chris Magsino last Monday. So Chris talked about his photos from Monument Valley, and then from that volcano in Indonesia. I think it's Ijen, forgot what. And then from Gilin, the cormorant fisherman. So it was an entertaining episode in the sense that Chris was able to impart a lot of tips and basically his methodology when creating all these images. And of course, last Wednesday was the adorable and charming Jen Perez with her minion beanie and headphones and shirt. So that was fun. She shared her photos from the glacier caves in Iceland, and then you have the wild horses in Inner Mongolia, and then you have the sunset at the Great Wall. And today we have our last guy for the landscape. It's a good bookender. But again, before I start introducing our guest for today, I'd like to give you a taste of next week. So next week, we're going to have wedding storytellers for next week. So we're going to have Toto Villaruel, a destination wedding photographer, on Monday. We have Jaja Samaniego for Wednesday, wedding and portrait photographer. And then bookending that week will be Jason Magbanua, who is a wedding videographer. So it's a great episode, a great week next week, because one of the things that I talk to them about and what I want them to present in the show is how they're coping with the COVID-19 lockdown, GCQ, ECQ. Toto recently went on, had a project, and he had to wear a full PPE suit and mask and such. So he will be giving, telling the story about what happened there and how it was for him. So check those out next week. Toto also took the photos from my wedding, and he has the most beautiful photos of my wife, so that's cool. I'll probably show that as well next week. Okay, so everyone's clamoring for our guest today. Okay, so our guest is a professional photographer based in Manila, and he's passionate about landscapes, outdoor cityscapes, and architectural photography. He has been a Canon Philippines brand ambassador since 2010, other side of the coin, and he's worked with the biggest brands such as DMCI Homes, Rockwell Land, Microtel Inns and Suites, the Energy Development Corporation, and Pearl Farm Beach Resort. So this guy actually, if I can say it in Tagalog, sobrang matunog yung name niya. In fact, when I was drafting my first list for guests here, Jay was part of that list, no? So kasama sila Chris. So VJ and I were the ones, Villafranco were the ones doing it. So I was very delighted, no, that he said yes for this. He has 10 years of experience as a photography workshop facilitator and lecturer, holding monthly tours and workshops around the country. Plus, this guy is from Don Bosco, Makati. He is a few years my senior. Can I say that, Jay? But I look older than him, so there's that. So hopefully he can show us some of his photos from high school and grade school and CAT to share with fan base here that he has on YouTube. And then he is, by the way, he told me this, and he is also the CEO of Answering All Questions. So everyone, so Argel, everyone, and Jen, if you are watching, he said that he's going to answer any and all questions that you're going to throw our way, which is why I think we should rename this episode and the series Jay's Confessions. Diba? Perfect. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Jay Jallorina. What's up, Jay?
Hi, Noel. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to everyone watching.
Ang showbiz ng entrance mo.
I just want to say that I'm not ano to? Hindi naman ako shy sa mga Facebook Live.
Talaga?
Actually,
okay.
I played out my Grand Depression a few years ago on Facebook Live. So, hasana ako.
Okay.
That's why I'm CEO of Answering All Questions. There's no controversy big enough.
Okay. So tapos mo na yung push-ups mo for today.
Oo naman.
Okay, good. So how are you doing, Jay? I noticed that you usually bike to places and
I'm good. I'm good. Actually, I've been reflecting on the past couple of months and all that has happened to us. Actually, I can not only say na I'm surviving it, but kind of also slowly learning to thrive in it and finding it, I don't know, strange na parang kahit stress, kahit there's a tremendous amounts of anxiety, parang mas happy. Ewan ko kung bakit. I don't want to sound like parang coops ako na ako lang yung ganito. But siguro I was able to adapt slowly but surely to the situation. And like, I don't know, I feel lighter and happier during this time.
That's good.
Maybe because nag-slow down yung pace ng buhay.
Okay. Would you consider yourself to be an introverted person?
No, I won't. Probably in the middle, but leaning towards extroverted.
Okay.
If ever that theory that there's introverts and extroverts, and one thing that I try to avoid is to see the world in black and white. Na, the world is not a dichotomy, that there's just one thing, and then philosophy pala to, hindi pala photography.
So you just set the tone pa of our session. Okay, medyo guys, malalim to. So, handaan nyo na yung mga kape nyo. And medyo...
I want to shout out pala. I just, as we were preparing, I was like drinking my favorite coffee from Augusta Coffee Company. So, it's a local brand. So, thank you.
Nakita ko nga na pinopost mo yan.
Yeah.
So may comments tayo. So I will read the comments from medyo magulo lang. Sir, anong settings ng photo? Kano kay Jen Perez? Nakugugulo na si Jen.
I'm using the Canon 5D Mark III. So medyo social tayo ngayon.
Nag-effort siya.
Mga Zoom meeting, DSLR, di pwede yung webcam. Mamaya pag nawala ng baterya yan, balik ka sa webcam.
Actually, alam mo ba, I was considering that, no? So I was telling Jay earlier that I didn't want to use a camera, a DSLR or mirrorless camera for this show simply because too many moving parts. But also, baka kasi mag-intrude siya sa photos. Alam mo, parang ma-distract. Uy, ganda naman ng ano. Pero I guess you're the first guy who has it. So maybe I should do it next time. Sabi ni Jen also, ang ganda ng shirt. And Argel also, t-shirt pa lang.
Alam mo ba, the last time na sinuot ko to was months ago. Tapos the whole ECQ, GCQ, every time na feeling ko susuotin ko siya, sabi ko, hindi, I'll save this for something.
And
for
here
something
you are.
special. Ito.
Ang ganda.
These are
Well,
you need to find appropriate moments for the best parts of your life.
And this is it. Wow,
Shirts
opportunistic.
included.
Ang lalim nitong show na to ng episode. Okay, sige. Yun pala. Sige, you know, Jay, before we head on to the photos, no, I know you don't want to talk about the technicals and we want to focus on methodology, which is great. But just to put it aside na lang, can you tell us, for the viewers who are starting out on landscape photography or architectural photography, what kind of kit do you normally carry? So at least that's out of the way.
Okay. I shoot with a Canon full frame camera, which is the Canon 5D Mark III, which is M6, more than 6 years old. I've been shooting with Canon ever since I started. Actually, my first digital camera was a Canon point and shoot back in 2004, and my
Grade
first.
school pa ako nun.
Yan din every time I talk about years and my past, yan din na sinasabi ng mga ex ko. Grade school pa ako nun joke lang.
Old soul ka daw kasi, sabi ni Jen Perez. Okay.
So I'm using a Canon full frame now. I've been fortunate to also use some of the newer Canon cameras like the EOS R. But mostly talaga for the professional work, for the landscapes, I really default to full frame Canon cameras. And I just go on with the gear, no.
Yeah,
the lens is a standard for landscape, the 1635 ultra wide angle lens, which I'm currently I'm not using it. I'm using the 2470 now. But for most of the shots, or for almost all of the shots that you will see this afternoon, they were taken with this setup, the Canon 5D Mark III or the EOS R, and this lens, the 1635, which is ginagamit ko siya kasi f2.8 siya, which is yun yung kailangan sa astrophotography
Right.
Diba, yung wide aperture. I'm also a proponent of Leo Photo carbon fiber tripods, the best tripods money can buy.
Which is distributed by
Urban Pros Manila.
Which is headed by?
Which is faced by Miss Urban Pros, Jen Perez. Urban Pros Manila, guys, if you're looking for pinakasulit na carbon fiber tripods for your travels after this pandemic, head over to their site. And I use assortment of filters. Before talaga mas intense ako sa filters. Kasi landscape photography is a filter intensive game. So I have bags of filters that I take with me in my gear.
Okay.
Yun.
I see. So, which begs the question, Jay. If, let's say I was starting out with landscape, do I need filters? Let's say I can't afford one or I don't have one yet. Can I get into the game with no filters?
Ganyan din ako when I started landscape photography. I didn't have any filters, and I remember for my very first filter purchase, which is a 2,000 peso joke of a circular polarizer, I had to read like 50 reviews because I wanted to make sure that I'm buying the right one.
Right.
And ultimately, as the years go on and as you're trying to expand your creativity, it's just impossible not to buy. But if I'm going to be asked right now, someone starting out and is asking me, kailangan ko ba bumili ng filter? Well, you keep on shooting until you reach a point that you're not being happy anymore, or you're not happy with the results, and maybe that's a time that you plunk down on cash for. If you're going to get one filter, try an ND filter, a 10-stop ND filter, kasi yun yung filter na probably the effect will not be hindi pwedeng gawin sa Photoshop or any other piece of software.
Right.
So 10 stop, which is the one used for long exposures. Ayun. Actually, I did a video, the very first video on my YouTube channel. It's a discussion of 3 filters that you need for landscape photography. And I did mention that kung meron kang filter na bibilhin, yun yung 10 stop ND. And then I said you get the circular polarizing filter, the CPL, and a graduated neutral density filter, which is the rectangular filter that balances the exposure for the bright sky and the darker foreground.
Nice.
So yun lang. You have those 3 filters.
Okay ka na.
Diba? You're good to go.
I agree kasi I got rin from Nisi kay Chris at saka kay Win. So he recommended nga that advanced kit, so I got it. Okay, so
pagbibili kayo ng DC filters, punta kayo sa nisioptics.ph, gamitin niyo yung promo code JLODI para may discount kayo. Hi Chris. Hi Win.
So this is what I got from Chris before, no? So I used it. I don't even know how to use it fully. Parang twice ko lang.
Now may promo code din pala si Noel.
Wala, hindi ako Lodi Jallorina. All right, so before we move to the first set, I invite you guys to check out Jay's Instagram, Jay Jallorina, with an underscore at the end. And then Jay, maybe you can invite them for your YouTube channel? Is there
yes.
like a
my YouTube channel that apparently the coronavirus has put a temporary halt on productions. We could get into that and the mindset of the creator. I think that would be really interesting in this ECQ times. But yes, I have a YouTube channel, Jay Jallorina. Nag-isa na naman ata yun sa YouTube.
Yeah, just search for him and you'll find him. Madali lang mahanap to. Madali lang mali.
Be subscriber number 200 something.
I will subscribe.
The first 1,000 subscribers are always the pioneers. So
ano ba yun?
Okay. Still have a chance.
Oy.
I'll make it. Gagawan ko kayo ng t-shirt.
Lodi din. When I'm promoting your brand just because. Okay. Kasi gusto ko yung very endy nila. All right. So, let's go to the first set of images, Jay. Jay, this is an awesome image. So, can you set this up for us, please?
All right. Para ako nabiglang
Nabighani ka sa sarili mong.
Parang hindi, ang dami kong gustong sabihin. But to preface this, one of the things that happened to me or a direction that I took.
Ang lalim. Sige, go.
A direction that I took sometime late 2018 was I stopped trying to factor in what other people would say. Yung alam mo yun, there's always every time you're shooting, you're making art and you're putting your work out there, whether it be a photo, an art, a painting, or writer ka, blogger ka, every time you put it out, you're always gonna get judgment, diba? You're always gonna get criticism or feedback on your work. And I guess I share the sentiment of there's always a fear for us creators when we put ourselves out there that may maririnig tayo. And for me, these are things like, inedit mo ba yan? And so, alam mo yun, yung parang you're always on the defensive when you create something and then somebody will ask, sir, anong ginamit mo para pang-edit niyan? I mean, you try to not be affected by questions like that, but it does get to you.
Yeah.
But sometime around 2018, when I was like doing my usual photography and editing, I think there was a picture of I was shooting a cityscape and medyo pangit yung sky, pero maganda yung foreground. And naisip ko lang, this is a simple, like, tanggalin mo lang kuha ka ng picture na hindi mo nagamit before na may magandang clouds and then just composite it on top of this and then blend it. And that's it. And then I posted this shot and I didn't explain. I didn't say that this is a composite. Parang pinost ko lang siya na normal photo. And there were a lot of people who liked it.
Okay.
And nobody asked if this was edited, this was composed. I mean, people just assume. I don't know if they just assume that it's a one photo, but the bottom line is people liked it. They were
Mm-hmm.
moved, inspired. They liked it, and they some even shared it. And parang naisip ko, parang where's this fear coming from? Is this
Okay.
real? Is the fear real, or maybe I just have this in my head? So from that point on, I was making pictures, and I wasn't hindi na ako limited nung fear, whether unfounded or real, and I just created images depending on how I see fit.
Okay.
So malaking burden over my shoulders yon kasi, for example, you get as landscape photographers, you all know that you're always at the mercy of the weather. Sometimes
Yes.
pupunta ka sa isang magandang location after hours of traveling, and pagdating mo doon, the light is not ideal, umuulan, or
Mm-hmm.
there's 100 different reasons why the shoot will screw up. But if you are creative, and two, if you are proactive, yung hindi medyo broad yung creative, very resourceful ka, you can think na, well, I have a cloud in my stash that I could use over this landscape, and we are all the better,
Yeah.
right? And then I also understood that photography should never be defined by what we read it off the dictionary, because this is art. You know, when Michelangelo, you know what's special with Mona Lisa in terms
Mm-hmm.
of art? Mona
Okay.
Lisa is the most recognized, most pop, perhaps the most famous piece of art. And I was reading about it, and the fundamental thing that was different and unique about the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci, pala Michelangelo tuloy, Leonardo da Vinci, was that it was the first painting where you cannot see the individual brushstrokes.
That's an
Sobrang
interesting trivia.
sobrang pino ng technique ni Leonardo da Vinci that nobody noticed this is different, right? It was just so beautiful and so haunting and so out of this, kumbaga, so beyond of its time that people did not think about the technique. They
Yeah.
didn't ask. Parang it's the same thing na when you see a beautiful picture, you don't even get to ask, Photoshop ba to? Or
Yeah.
anong camera ginamit dito? It was
Right.
just so beautiful that, and from that point on, I said I'm never going to bother answering questions about how I do my art. I'm just going to make my art the way I see it. I
Right.
put it out,
Good.
and I will live and die with it.
Yeah.
And
So
this
art for
picture,
yourself, basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is, if I remember, we were talking about that. Is this fine art? No, it's
Yes.
not fine art. It's
It's
mine
mine
art.
art. Yung pala yun.
Mine art photography. Because,
Okay.
di ba? So going to this picture, which was by the way featured by this store in New York. This very small store, B&H lang naman.
Wow. Nax.
Yeah,
Kaka-order ko
this
lang. Okay.
yeah, they actually wrote me and asked permission to use this in, I don't know,
Nice.
in their Instagram. And probably they saw it, they liked it, and that's all that matters, right? They
Yeah.
didn't ask me, is this one picture, one shot? Um but the truth is, if we're talking about behind the shot, this is actually a composite of three different shots.
Okay.
Okay. This is Tayid Lighthouse in Macatao in Batanes.
Okay.
And it was taken at night. You can show na the raw.
Sure. Here you go.
So the base shot. So I'm showing you guys the raw shot. This is the ACR, Adobe Camera Raw screen, and this is the base image of the lighthouse. You can see actually ang pinuntirya ko dito is the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been shooting in this place for a decade. So kumaga parang I was out there to have picnic with my Batanes friends, and we were like playing Moira de la Torre songs at midnight and
Nax.
just watching the stars. And
Nag-set pa ng mood si Jay. Okay.
yeah, oh,
Alright.
diba?
And then?
Humuhugot pa kami niyan habang nagsushoot. Tapos when I came home and I was like trying to sift through all the photos from Batanes to edit and to, I was looking at it, parang nagawa ko na to Parang I there's nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, if only I could shoot this star trails naman instead of Milky Way. The problem was twofold. Number one, in Batanes, even in summer, the weather is always mercurial na it's sobrang rare yung instance na you will have hours and hours of very clear skies na walang clouds.
Okay.
Pag gumagawa ka kasi ng star trails, it's very important that for the entire duration of the star trailing, which could take anywhere between 1 to 3 hours hanggang maubos yung baterya mo, kailangan wala talagang clouds. Kasi oras na, halimbawa, ang star trailing kasi, the technique that it's usually done nowadays is you take consecutive 30 seconds, 30-second shots
Parang
for like
time
at
lapse.
least an hour. Yan,
Yeah.
parang time-lapse. Ngayon, habang nagta-time-lapse ka para sa star trails po, oras na may lumipad na clouds, kahit for let's say 10 minutes lang,
Sira na.
warak na yung, hindi na maganda yung kilalabasan nun.
Yeah.
So sabi ko, there must be a way to like present star trails more efficiently and I was scouring YouTube for tutorials on how to do it. And I saw one simple YouTube search lang, how to generate star trails from one shot. And malayo yung result ng tutorial na yun sa gusto ko nangyari. So but I got the idea and then I did my own. So basically hindi ko na mahanap yung yung shot na yun, but I think you can show yung shot na yun, yung parang start bilog. The next one.
This one.
Ayan.
Okay.
So this is actually one shot, 30-second shot of the sky at night. Star field. So individual stars yan. Tapos ni-rotate ko yan by, select all, tapos edit, transform, rotate by 0.1.
Wow.
So,
okay.
0.1, you create an action that will do that 10 more times. So, if you stack all those images, it's a rotation of 1 degree. You create another action, so pag times 5, with the 5 degrees na yon, hanggang sa makabuo ka ng 360 degrees, something like that. So, ito na yon. So, basically, this is a simulation. I call it a star trail simulation. Parang simulate mo star trails without any interruptions, without any like clouds.
Yeah. Good.
Effing up your intentions, diba? And it was a simple matter of the second shot, the shot before this is actually a ridge on the other side of the first photo.
Okay.
If you notice, bumalik tayo sa first
Parang
photo.
tumalikod ka.
Yeah. Or to the side. Ayun, nakikita mo na yung continuation.
Ridge,
yeah. Kasi sa isip ko, yung original shot of the lighthouse, hindi maganda yung position ng foreground. Kasi I knew I will need to silhouette or to turn the original lighthouse into a silhouette to get the effect para mag-stand out siya against the star field.
Yeah.
So yun. So kinut out ko. This is the hardest part here was, can you go back to the first shot? Ito, the hardest part here was by hand to sort of use the pen tool to extract the lighthouse.
Mm-hmm.
Then
let's go back.
Yan.
Okay.
Get the lighthouse, get the ridge.
Okay.
Pen tool din yan. Get the ridge from this photo, and then finally compose it with the starfield shot to get.
Wow.
And then I use luminar flex to generate the light rays. Kasi sa totoo lang,
this one,
tipid sa kuryente at sa energy dun sa Batanes. Kaya hindi naggaganyan yung ilaw
hindi
sa...
ganun kalakas.
Hindi ganyan kalakas. And aside from that, this is totally impossible to shoot because if you go to the shot with yung raw shot ng lighthouse, yung North Star is somewhere over here kung nasaan yung may parang maliwanag na part.
Sa left.
Yan, sa left part yan.
Yeah.
And pag tumayo ka, pag kinuha mo yung angle na nasa bangin ka na nun eh. Nasa bangin ka na pag kinuha mo na yung angle, tapos hindi maganda yung lay nung lighthouse. So, a lot of people would say, if they know this, are you misleading or that's not photography? These are the fears that,
Okay.
People artificially place on themselves that prevent them from just exploring and letting their imagination run wild because of all these. But I've been doing this for almost all of my photos, and I rarely get, because I proactively also explain that this
Yeah.
this is posted. But you know what? I got the call from B&H, and I got that exposure. They never ask if this is a real photo. They
Right.
never even ask saan to eh. I mean, this is a beautiful shot. We'd like to use it, and
That's it.
that's it,
Yeah.
right?
Chris and I talked about this last on their episode, his episode last Monday, because we're from two opposite sides of the spectrum, because since I do conservation and wildlife, I cannot manipulate naman. So it
Of
has
course,
to stay
because
through.
you're a journalist kasi.
Exactly.
You're doing a basically you're a journalist, right?
Correct.
So sige, go on.
Yeah, so what I was trying to explain to everyone who was watching was that your art, he calls it fine art or your mine art, it has a different set of rules. So you shouldn't apply the rules of documentary or photojournalism to, Jay Jallorina's mine art. So it is your type of photography, and that's how it should go,
Yun nga.
basically. Yeah.
Which goes back to what I said earlier. We cannot view the world in a dichotomy, the black and white, totoo at hindi. Even the basic question, is this photo real? Because there's no such thing as a real photo and a unreal photo. It's just a photo,
Right.
right?
Right.
Let's step out of this need to always dichotomize the world. Tama ka, mali ako, or the other way around. Diba? Parang ano yan eh, there's various ways of interpreting things.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't limit ourselves to one corner of the box whenever we're pursuing our art.
You have here, Jen Perez, ang lalim mag-isip, nakakalunod. And Alin Santiago
Hi,
is here.
Alin. Hi, Alin.
Idol.
Hi to the Zone 5 friends. And actually, hi to all the friends who are watching.
Yeah, you have a lot. Chris Magsino is watching on Facebook. And then
Ay, hindi ko na nakikita.
Yeah,
sa Facebook ba sila nagko-comment?
hindi. It's on YouTube. But stay on YouTube kasi baka if you're having a feed on both, baka mag-lag tayo.
Okay.
No, Jen is just so medyo industrious si Jen. She's commenting almost the same thing on each platform. Gumaganti sa'yo. So there you go. So
She warned me. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Miss Urban Pros. Napaka-poetic na word. Okay, so guys, we have right now Jay Jallorina, and that was his first photo that he talked about, this amazing image of the lighthouse from Batanes and that circular star trail. So follow
Jen, you have a beautiful face.
Jay. So follow Jay on Instagram, Jay Jallorina. He has a lot more amazing shots. You can also follow me on Instagram, Noel Guevara Photo. And if you like what you're seeing, please do like and subscribe. Like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are on Facebook, I suggest you head on over to YouTube. The cooler people are there, so I'll see you there. All right, so let's move on to our second set of photos, Jay. You know what? When I saw this photo, I actually didn't think that it was. I appreciated it at face value for what it is. I thought it was not a composite actually. Sobrang galing.
Thank you.
All right. So where did you take this shot?
Okay. The story of this was last year. I went to Cebu. Shout out to my friends from Cebu Images Camera Club. They invited me last year to give, ironically, a talk on astrophotography.
Okay.
And I remember telling them about this composite thing, and they were like parang parang gusto nila magrebelde sa akin, but it was all good. I think they appreciated the different perspective that I offered.
Yeah.
And on the way back to Cebu, because we did the workshop at the resort at the southern tip of Cebu in Samboan, and on the way back, which was actually a very rainy day, somewhere around Alegria, which is the southwestern part of Cebu, we saw a couple of boats beach in the low tide. Derelict na. Tapos may wreck nga akong nakita na yun yung gusto kong i-shoot. So pinunta namin yun. we stopped, tapos kasama ko si Doc Erwin Lim. Ayan. Nag-shoot kami doon. And then as we were leaving, kasi parang gray talaga yung conditions eh. So nagmi-minimalist, nag-try na lang kami minimalist low exposure. Pero hindi ko rin nagustuhan yung original shoot ko from that place. We were leaving, we climbed the seawall. I saw this view.
Okay.
Can you show the next picture?
Sure.
Ayan. Yan yung original view.
Wow. Okay.
This was handheld. This was handheld. So walang tripod, walang filters. And as I took this shot, I was just careful how I positioned it. Because in my mind, I was already, kumbaga nakikita ko na yung how it would end up eh.
Okay.
I would know what I would need to do. I would remove so on and so forth. I didn't know exactly how hard it would be, but I knew what to do in my mind. And I didn't even worry na, teka lang, magta-tripod ba ako, mag-long exposure ba ako. Parang hindi ko na siya kinconcern eh, kasi feeling ko kaya ko siyang gawa ng paraan na mag-long exposure.
Okay.
So after I took this shot, I think the next shot presented itself. But this was a couple of minutes later.
Right.
No, this wasn't a couple of minutes later. We drove on, and then nakita namin na this huge storm cloud. And naghihintay actually kami, na IG stories ko yun eh, naghihintay kami ng anybody passing, because we were on the highway. So anyone who would pass, like tricycle, people walking, or yung favorite ko was a boy on a bicycle. It would silhouette against the sky and this cloud.
Okay.
And I took that photo. It's posted somewhere in my Instagram. But I also took this shot na predominantly yung cloud. Because at the back of my mind then, I knew I'm going to use this shot over that other shot.
Okay.
Which I did. So
Okay.
the work here was, let's go back to the
original one.
Yung film. Sige, yung kahit either of the two. Yan. Ang ginawa ko dito was, obviously, I had to use content-aware fill and cloning to clean up all this detritus here.
Okay.
Remove this additional boats here.
Okay.
And the hardest thing again here was to use the pen tool. Nandiyan yung folder mo. Ayan, the hardest thing was to use the pen tool. I think it took an hour to select the boat carefully. Okay. Now I wanted was to take it off from this background, from this beach, and put it on another beach. But I couldn't make it to work na mukha siyang natural. So ultimately, nilinis ko na lang yung beach, pinalitan ko yung color grade. And then since na-cut out ko na yung boat, I think the sea, etong parang, alam mo ba colorblind ako? Alam na lahat yan. Okay. Alam na lahat yan, colorblind na. Anong kulay nung dagat dun sa finish shot? Blue, like blue, gray.
It is bluish gray, a bit.
Yeah. It doesn't look blue to me. It looks gray to me. Anyway, kasi colorblind ako. Alam ko itong dagat na to was from another long exposure shot.
Okay.
That's why mukha siyang low exposure, right? Good. And then it was just a matter of bringing in that cloud, and the way that I remember the way I was able to turn it very dramatic was, I originally ran this through Nick Silver Effects, yung pang black and white.
Yeah.
Because feel ko talaga this would work in black and white. And I ran it through a Nick Silver Effects filter. I forgot. But medyo hindi ko nagustuhan yung dating na naging black and white. Naging generic siya.
Yeah.
Naging like all the black and white. Naging parang wala. Nawalan siya ng gravitas para sa akin. Gravitas. Nawalan siya ng impact for me. So instead of using the black and white layer, I just switched the filter from normal, or that layer, to luminosity. So
Okay.
nag-remain yung contrast ng Nick Silver effects pero lumabas ulit yung
Yung
dating
kulay.
kulay.
Okay. Right,
Yan.
right. Gets.
And
Okay.
then, if I remember right, this was carefully tuned. I mean, if you see the original photo, makita mo maraming different colors. What I did here was I shifted the colors para maging hindi naman complementary but dinasaturate ko yung mga hindi mag colors na hindi nagmi-mix. So ang natira na lang na colors are the colors or hues that kind of work together. Kumbaga,
Right.
diliitan ko yung palette.
Yeah.
I didn't turn it black and white, but I minimized the range of colors that was available.
I
So
see.
it's predominantly blue cyan, and this band of brown, I guess, yung nasa gitna.
Yeah. This parang ano. Yeah, I can see that. Wow. Okay. So when you took this shot, you were already anticipating the elements that you will have for it. So that is part of it, no? That's integral to that's still photography, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, the as I was reflecting on this, every day, it's a very good practice. I suggest all creatives do this. Because actually I read this from a book, Julia Cameron, The Artist Way.
Mm-hmm.
Si Julia Cameron, pinauso niya yung um, asawa siya ni Martin Scorsese. Tama ba? Martin,
Okay.
yeah, I think so. But Julia Cameron is herself an artist. She's a writer. And sabi niya, to cultivate creativity, you try to write every day when you wake up or before you, or as you drink your morning coffee, whatever. You try to have a notebook and you write 3 pages every day. Just write and don't think. Just write what comes to mind. Just write. I mean,
Let it flow lang.
let it flow. And there's another author, interview ni Tim Ferriss, si Safi Bakal, who said the words FBR writing. Fast, ano to? FBR. Fast, be, and wrong.
Okay.
Fast, bold, and wrong. Basta, just write and don't think about grammar. Think about what are you trying to say. Just write the first thing that comes to mind. Like if you think about a thought, write it down. Don't ever come back. Just
Yeah, yeah,
let
yeah.
it roll. Huwag kang huminto, basta write ka lang ng write. If you think something, and one of the things that process has given me was that there are so many things, so many ideas about photography that came to me. One of the things was that I ruminated was actually mas mahirap yung mag-composite kaysa mag-straight up photography.
Yeah,
You
I
know
have to
why?
say.
Because
Uh,
if you're a landscape photographer and you see a beautiful place, all you have to do is follow your heart in terms of alam mo sa composition, like rule of thirds, like foreground, background, and line up your camera, boom, tapos na. Maybe you saw this composition from somebody else before you were even traveled to that place. But compositing is a different breed of animal and a different challenge because you are trying to come out or to create a photo that no one has ever seen. Not even you. You've not
mhm.
even seen if this will work. And sometimes your initial draft of yung initial pagkakabit-kabit mo, think of it as a Lego piece of disparate elements and you pinagkabit-kabit mo. Even then, yung first draft mo would not usually look like,
The last one. Yeah.
pangit. Parang, but you have to persevere and that depends on your clarity as an artist and your, siguro yung temperament mo as an artist. How willing are you to stick with this idea? Diba? It's a balance that you will learn to play out as you go along. But this is the challenge of it. So I would say that compositing and creating images out of your imagination is actually not just a brave thing to do, but it's really difficult.
It is a different type of skill rin kasi. You know it's
Yeah.
interesting, Jay, kasi in my previous life when I was still a director, I knew that, for example, different directors also perceived actors differently, like the way you're saying it. So Hitchcock considered his actors like, he considered them as meat. Eastwood considers his actors as performances. He doesn't see the actual people. And then George Lucas considers them as pixels. So it's
Yeah.
never like I don't. And then of course in film, like you were saying also that the film you write is different from the film you shoot and the film that you
Yeah.
actually release. So
It's
it's good that it is, you adapted this into photography.
it's nice also that you mentioned about film, because that's one of the defense, not one defenses, but one of the examples that I use when I'm put in a situation where I need to explain my process. When I tell them that when you look at film, diba, there's the director, obviously there's the screenwriter, there are the actors, then there's also what we call the director of photography.
Yeah.
Why is it called the director of photography, not the director of the movie? Because the photography, the operation of the camera, the capturing of the image onto the celluloid or to the sensor nowadays is just a part of the process. This is the same way that I view cameras now. When you're out there, I mean, for my particular form of I'm not saying every kind of photography, ito na. I treat the camera and what it does as just a harvesting of the materials that I'm going to use. Diba? Pagdating sa
Yes.
computer, doon
That's
tayo
where
magluto.
that's where it
Doon
all
tayo
comes
magluto.
together.
So yung final picture is never limited by what that camera captured. Kung ano yung, halimbawa, kasi pag yung approach mo kasi sa photography is limited kung saan yung typical na straight out of the camera, or it's not a photo unless it's like unedited kind of shit. You're limited by what? You're limited by your lens, you're limited by the circumstances around that shot, you're limited by the weather. Diba? You're
Yeah.
limited by all the things that went on during that shoot.
Of course. So now you just see that all the magic happens at the end of the end of the process. You just gather the assets. Okay, so that is the second batch of photos. Well, the second photo
Noel,
from Jay.
before we proceed, can we like greet all our friends? Si Paul Resurrection, I'd like to greet. Can you greet all the people? Si Paul Resurrection, Pusconyan din yan, kabatch ko yan.
Talaga?
And,
Okay.
And
Okay.
hi Ching, hi Sir Win, and the Magsino brothers are here. Tapos I'll just remove my blinds para parang dumidilim na kasi ako.
So also, yeah, hi Paul, thanks for watching. And Jen also said that, speaking of Don Bosco, Noel, classmate mo pala si Randall Cipriano. Barkada ko yun namin ni Jay. So he mentioned
Sino?
about
Sino?
si Randall Cipriano. Yeah, he's my batchmate actually. Yeah, I remember he was taking landscape rin siya, diba? If I'm not mistaken.
Si Randall Cipriano.
Yeah.
Best friend ko yun.
Talaga?
Best friend din ni yun.
What's this? Parang loaded ng mga statements.
Hindi kasi inaayos ko yung kurtina ko, ano ba?
Okay, sure. All right. Okay. So that is the second photo from our very
Hi, Carrie.
our luminary, Jay Jallorina. And okay, so for those who are watching on Facebook live, no. So again, guys, check out Jay's Instagram, Jay Jallorina with an underscore at the end. We will be terminating now our feed for Facebook, and I invite you guys to head on over to YouTube and let's continue the party there. Learn more about photography and its philosophies from our Lodi Jay Jallorina there on YouTube. So I have posted the link right now in the comments. So just follow on. We're gonna continue for a good probably 10-15 minutes more. So I will now end that broadcast, and I will see you guys on YouTube. Cool. Right. Okay. Now, we also have someone who said hi here, Ken Guevara. He's asked the exact spelling of my name, which is 1R. Okay. So hi daw, Sir Jay. Okay. Jay, can you still hear me? Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back to Randall Cipriano. No, just kidding. Okay. So from Mabel de Mavivas, very quick, short answer lang, Jay, kasi we are a bit, we're running out of time a bit. Is it possible to have such bold style and delivery while shooting analog?
Oo naman. Kasi, the cooking is always done on a computer. Diba? So, if you're shooting analog, medyo mas cumbersome nga lang kasi you have to scan. But, diba? Pag gusto may paraan.
Okay.
Diba?
Mukhang
But I just think that if you're shooting analog, you're not trying to do all this stuff. You're shooting analog because the feel of the analog is
the capture itself.
the draw. Yeah, yung process. Alam mo ba? That's a good point, no. I always put IG stories in my every morning, my coffee, and somebody commented na, sir, parang ang tedious naman ng process mo, like kasi I use an AeroPress. Sometimes I use a French press. Na parang you have to grind the beans and then you have to steep everything at a set temperature. You have to measure the beans. Every day I do it just to drink one cup of coffee. Meron pa pala laman to. Anyway, and I told her, sabi ko, this is the allure of it actually. It's not just the drinking of the coffee, it's the preparation. It's the ritual of it all.
Yeah. It's the journey.
It's for me,
not the destination.
It's an important part of my life nowadays to have that ritual where you're mindful of all the steps.
Right.
Sabi ko nga pag uminom ka ng kape, dapat hindi ka nag-Facebook, hindi ka nag-Instagram, hindi ka nagbabasa ng diaryo or ng news. You're just like sitting there, drinking the coffee, feeling, alam mo yun, some people, I don't taste anything aside from coffee. That's because you don't drink it mindfully enough. You just try it, drink it, pikit mo mata mo, and try to think, what do you remember when you drink coffee? And that, I think, that mindful experience translates to film, when you shoot with film, kasi you're very mindful about the entire process of photography. You're slowing down, making sure you don't screw this up because film is very expensive and you have to get things right, you know. So I don't think that someone who wants to do compositing and crazy experiments with images would do well to shoot using film and then compositing.
I see. Ang transcendent ng reply mo. But yes, I do get it. I do get what you're saying. And let's go to our final photo. We have about 5 minutes left, Jaya, pero we can extend a bit, but you really have to talk us through this photo. Super ganda niya.
Bakit pala may time limit ka?
We can only take 1 hour of Jay Jallorina at any given day.
Ganun ba?
I'm kidding. No, I have I'll put it in the messenger. Anyway, sige, go.
Sige. This photo, this is of course Mayon Volcano. Perhaps the most recognizable, iconic landscape destination we have in the Philippines. Yung nag-iisang talagang pag nakita mo, boom, Mayon.
Mm-hmm.
And this was taken with, parang pangit pakinggan.
Boom, Mayon.
This was taken with a DJI Phantom 4 drone. And kind of straightforward. And it appears straightforward, but it actually is a very somewhat complicated thing because this is actually composer made up of 5 photos, not composite, but kasi panorama siya. This is a vertical panorama. So with the drone hovering, I think 100 meters above.
Okay.
I slowly took pictures as the drone camera was spanning up.
Wow, galing. Okay.
So kumbaga it's a vertical panorama.
Pero hindi siya nagtitilt. It's just height. It's just elevation. Hindi nagtitilt yung camera.
No, the camera is you can tilt naman the camera eh.
Yeah.
Kaya nga may mga shots ka nakikita na straight down, di ba?
Yeah, I know.
So,
I mean, your stitching, you had the tilt with it, not just elevation.
Paano to? Parang isipin para tayo nang galing sa technical na high school, nag-gano tayo, di ba? Parang ano lang siya, parang lang siyang pwede pag panorama, you're like swiveling.
Yeah, it's a pan.
Pero swiveling siya. Yeah.
Pero so parang sa'yo, nag-elevate rin kasi. So
no,
parang
steady lang yung camera, steady lang yung drone, ang gumagalaw is yung camera.
So nagpa-pan.
From bottom
Okay.
Tilt siya. Tilt,
Okay, so
kumbaga.
you stayed on 100 meters and then you were
The camera
tilting up.
was,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Film eh.
And
Oh.
what made, what actually uh, the other complicated thing lang with this shot was, the reason pala why I did, number one, let's talk about the location first. Bakit ito pinili ko? Because we were, actually this was during a tour. I usually do a tour to Legazpi twice a year.
Mhm.
Ngayon wala kasi coronavirus. um, and there's this location at the back of Kagsawa Church. Siguro mga 2 kilometers pa sa
Okay.
loob, where there's this lots of small rivers and trees, and it's very beautiful to have that location to shoot from those streams, rushing water, tas to have Mayon at the
Mhm.
back. But a couple of years ago, when I first brought my drone and I flew it, I discovered na, actually hindi siya evidence sa shot na to, pero in certain areas of this place, may sort of terracing. Naririnig mo ba yung aso?
Yes. Parang may ano, parang may ano lang.
May ka aso, sisigawan ko lang ito
Mas
mga to.
mas visceral lang yung feeling. Parang kay Jen may tigidig, 'di ba, yung
Oo nga,
electric fan.
gumagay. Feeling ko si Jen yan eh. Anyway,
Tumatahol si Jen.
so na-notice ko a couple of years ago that during the morning, especially early morning, it's really beautiful kasi you get all this golden sunshine on the farmlands. So all the shadows of the trees would be elongated,
Mhm.
which would make a beautiful pattern, which would contrast with everything. And there's plenty of striations on the ground. They all point, or kind of point, towards the direction of Mayon.
Okay.
Ito yung mga, makikita mo naman yung mga lines eh. Hindi
Leading
sila,
lines mo.
parang ano eh, parang chummy-chummy yung mga lines na to. Somehow nag-usap-usap sila. Turo tayo papunta kay Mayon. And yun yung reason kung bakit I shot from this place at this particular time, because we all know that golden warm light will always mix beautifully or complement a blue sky, which is happened here. A couple of minutes later, pag mas harsh na yung light, mawawala na yung pagka-yellow nito eh. So talagang different mood na yung ano. And the reason I had to shoot with a Vertorama was two things. Number one, I need to get as many of these lines in the shot as much as possible. Two, I need to get as much of the sky as much as possible. And three, when I took the shot, do you have the video?
Yes.
Can you show the video?
Here you go.
Ayan. If you pan up, you will see sabog na yung clouds.
Okay.
Ayan. Yun yung kakaiba lang dun sa Vertorama. I had to use a picture of Mayon, and from that shoot then, from that particular day, that particular shoot, I think this was the next shot from ito yung ayan, I had to use this. May isa pa akong pinakita na shot, diba?
Yeah,
ayan. Ito yung parang panorama. Ito na yung combined, I think this was 4 or 5 images.
Okay.
You will see the Mayon shot, yung part ng Mayon's blown out, and yung clouds sabog na, di ba? So I composited that. By the way, to people who are new to Photoshop, you can actually stitch raw files in Lightroom or Adobe Camera Raw. Yung stitch mo is raw pa rin.
Nice.
So, before kasi, we need to convert all the raw components. Kung raw siya, ko-convert mo pa siya to JPEG, saka mo siya i-blend as a panoramic composite. Pero ngayon, you can straight composite from all the raw components, tapos yung resulting panorama is still a raw file. You can adjust.
Nice. Okay.
So, ito yung cloud. Yan. Yun lang yun. I think this was a couple of minutes later from the original shot.
I see. So you have this base shot that you took, which is a Vertorama, which is a 5-photo stitch, but you decided to replace the sky or the clouds with this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And then you wanted to talk about this particular photo, Jay. Can you explain to us why this photo is very special?
Yeah. This photo is very special because eto yung ano eh, 'di ba I told you na noong 2018 I started to have this shift in my creative mindset.
Yeah.
But I was kind of quiet about the entire process because hindi pa ako ready mag-explain. Kumbaga, parang ayoko pa nung intriga. Ayoko pa nung intrigue of having to deal with having to explain. Every time I make something nice, I have to explain to people that. So this photo, which very obviously is a composite, if you know how to shoot the Milky Way, it's it's a dumb ass thing if you think that this is a single shot. And this happened na during this because I do a parang in partnership with my friends, with my client DMCI Homes, I do a photography tour, cityscape photography tour on top of their various properties around Metro
Yeah.
Manila. This is one of their buildings, DMCI Brio Tower in Makati, which has a beautiful view of the BGC skyline. And I was telling my participants during that, this was last year, I was telling them, oh, kung gusto nyo, 3 o'clock, 3 a.m., hintayin nyo, lalabas yung Milky Way dito sa taas ni... Which is true kasi I have this app, yung Photo Pills, which you can plot the Milky Way in advance. So I was telling them, oh, ito, at 3 a.m. today, lalabas yung Milky Way on top. Diba? Whether kaya ng camera nyo yon or kaya ng technique ninyo, problema nyo na yon. But lalabas yung Milky Way on top of BGC.
Okay.
And I thought I was so serious when I said it na parang there were a couple of participants who was like they were willing, it was 7 at night, they were willing to wait until 3 in the morning
Wow.
to try. And I said, I was actually joking, hindi tayo papayagan ng DMCI na mag-camp out dito. Anyway, I got home and I just started to play with this idea. Actually, this was really hard work because I had to pen tool at I think 400% view to really carefully extract BGC, this shot of BGC from the night sky, diba? Which was filled with clouds.
Jay, sorry. For context lang for our for the lay people who are watching, why is this impossible to shoot with a single shot?
Well, to get the Milky Way, the first requirement you have to have is, aside from the Milky Way obviously being in the night sky at that particular time, you have to be in a completely near dark place. A place na walang light pollution. Because if you're in an urban area, you have all these stray sources of light beaming upwards, which will totally dilute your view. So kaya pag napapansin mo naman yun, pag nasa Metro Manila ka, kahit clear yung sky, konti lang yung stars na makikita mo. Compare na pumunta ka sa Pulag, for example, tapos clear night. Pag tumingin ka, it's billions of stars, literally. So, hindi mo makukuha yung Milky Way. The Milky Way is very faint. You can actually see it with your naked eye, pero parang very, very faint lang siya. So, unless you have a perfectly clear and dark conditions, it's impossible to capture the Milky Way in the city. Okay. Even with today's cameras. I tried to do that. Mahirap pa rin eh. Pwede siya at extremely high ISOs, f1.8 or f2.8 na lens. Pero sobrang noisy na nung shot na unusable din siya for a point.
Okay.
So going back, in-extract ko yung cityscape ng BGC, and then it was just a matter of getting an earlier shot. I think this was, the Milky Way was from Batanes, and then pinatong ko lang siya.
Okay.
And then masyado akong natuwa that it came out so nice. Alam mo yun? I was telling you, I was drafting it, that I made the stupid mistake of posting it on my Facebook, Instagram, and of all places, an astrophotography Facebook group. Ayan. Okay. And I didn't explain. I think nung time na yon, wala pa namang rule yung group na yon na kailangan mong sabihin na composite siya. Basta pinost ko lang. Almost immediately, a lot of people were like, commenting, sir, one shot or two shots. Again, I told you na every time I hear that thing, parang, do I need to explain? Do I need
Yeah,
to
yeah,
like,
yeah.
di ba, parang si ano parang si Michelangelo, tiningnan mo yung painting niya, tapos tinanong mo, anong brush yung ginamit mo para lumabas to? Or like asking Mozart, what kind of piano did you use to come out with these beautiful sounds? It's like, as an artist, it's an insult to your process. I
Yeah.
mean, if you like the shot, like it and be happy. If you don't like it, we can all move on. But
Right.
don't give me the burden of explaining to you. And the worst part was, when I refused to explain, they were laying down crap on me. They're like, parang, we don't need your honesty. We don't need your creativity. We need your honesty. Like, what?
Wow. Wow.
And
Iba yung
anyway,
perception nila. I see, I see. Okay.
at that time, I felt I was very defensive, but that entire thing, of which this photo was the, kumbaga, the, tawag nito,
A turning point for you?
not the turning point, but the photo was parang the reminder of that episode. It
Mm.
taught me na there are bigger battles to fight. And it
Wow.
made me appreciate that, you know what, you, this is this is a reminder for you that you create art so you don't have to feel guilty that you need to explain your process to so many people. You just create art because it made you happy. And maybe this will tie up to my, to, if I'm allowed to do a parting message. Am
Go
I?
ahead. Yeah, of course.
um
Wait, before you do that, kung magpa-parting message ka, hold that thought. Guys, if you are entranced by what you are seeing right now, again, I invite you to visit Instagram of Jay Jallorina. It's Jay Jallorina _. And of course, liking this video will really bump it up the algorithm of YouTube. So guys, who you're watching, there are, I think, 20 plus, I believe, go please like the video so it goes up and other people can watch and be inspired by what Jay has said. It's very deep, it's very transcendent, so I hope it gets more traction. And also, please do subscribe to this channel as well. And before I let Mr. Jay Jallorina give his parting message, so guys, we have here Jay, Kim Maynard Go.
and
Also,
I also, before I want to do the closing speech,
yeah, go.
I just want to shout out to everyone who watch and everyone who will watch pa, because I think this will be available naman. Tama ba? This will
Yeah,
be
forever.
available on Noel's channel. I just want to shout out to hi to all the people who are going to watch, all the people who watch. And I'm sorry if I didn't see you on the comments, but to those people that I saw, like sila Jen, Zone 5, Sir Argil, Sir Aline, at of course my OG, Kim Maynard Go. Excited yan. I'm sure you watched it, and every day I talk to him. Ayan. So hi, Paul Resurrection, Ken Guevara, ayan. Mga OG friends yan.
Nice. Hey guys.
Of course to Jen, sabi
Thanks.
niya kanina, I have a beautiful mind. Yeah, a beautiful, Jen has a
Everything.
beautiful,
Okay.
beautiful, hindi na pala Miss Urban Pros, Miss Everything.
Wow, grabe yung claim. All right, guys. So you are watching Behind the Shot, and it was such a fun episode with Jay Jallorina. And Jay, I will explain to you later on Facebook after, or actually in our conversation later, why I have to cut it at around 6 p.m. So for everyone who is watching here, follow Jay Jallorina on Instagram. Also, you search for him on YouTube. You can also follow me on Instagram as well, but it's not landscape. It's more conservation and wildlife, though. So if that's something you like, hit subscribe. Sorry, no, hit follow. And again, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell here on my YouTube channel. So Behind the Shot is brought to you by Deity microphones. Jay, you can say your parting message to everyone, and then after this, please stay online in Zoom. I will just close the episode first, and then let's continue our conversation there.
Yeah.
And go for it.
So before I end pala, or I go to my final message, just like to thank Noel for inviting me. I would have done it even if you didn't tell me that Bosconian ka. Because I know that this is I'm very typically reluctant to do all these online things kasi it just takes a lot of energy to talk, to explain.
Mm-hmm.
Lalo na yung actually ang daming ang brands and friends nagpapagawa sa akin ng video. Hindi mahirap gumawa ng video from the concept to the writing to the shooting to the editing, especially lalo na pag may perfectionist streak ka, mahirap talaga. So I don't know why I like your approach, and I felt, diba, it was a sincere approach. That's why I can't, parang feeling ko I can't say no to this.
Thanks.
But when you said na I'm happy to finally have a Bosconia on board, I was like, okay, I know I'm not screwing this up. I know I'm making a good choice.
Thank you, Para.
But as part of my final message, I guess to everyone who's watching, when this pandemic hit, I was thinking of ways na, aside from, of course, as a freelance photographer with a family, you have to think, paano na, diba? Talagang, for the longest time during this pandemic, I was really put in a, kumbaga parang deer in the headlights moment. Yung parang, alam mo nang masasagasaan ka, pero parang, hindi ka makagalaw.
Yeah.
And then I realized people were asking me, how are you coping? How are you still living? Or if you are depressed, if you are feeling anxious, how are you adapting to it? And the thing that came to me was, you're a photographer, but more than that, you are a creator of things. You create, whether you edit pictures, whether you think different and do a Steve Jobs, connect the dots, like get an old photo, get the sky from another photo, and come up with something new.
Mm-hmm.
That's the essence of you. You are a creator. And this ties up very nicely to what something I read a long time ago, last year, a long time ago, by a Czech philosopher, psychologist, si Mikhail Csikszentmihalyi. Sabi niya, most creative people, they experience a zone, flow state. Parang athlete. Di ba pag si Jordan or si LeBron, they get into this zone that every shot they are taking goes in.
Yeah.
Sabi niya, if you're an artist, you're a creator, and you just bury yourself into your work, you eventually get into that flow state. And I realized that as during this pandemic, every time I would edit, like when you were asking me to come up with 3 photos to put in the show, I burned 3 hours. Hindi ko na malayan. 3 hours scanning through the entire work, trying to think at the back of my mind, trying to write what I was going to say or trying to share today. And during that entire process, during those hours lost in a way na hindi ko na malayan na ang tagal pala ng oras na nawala. Doon ko na-realize, ang saya ko.
Wow.
Diba?
Wow.
Parang,
I'm glad I've been able to help you in that way.
If you're a photographer, a writer, a vlogger, any kind of creator, or if you're trying to be a creator, if you're a TikToker, for all I care, just create. No matter, don't suspend all judgment and all fear, just create, and you will see in the process of creating, FBR, fast, bad, wrong. Yung pala yung B doon, bad. Fast, bad, wrong. Morning pages, just write, just edit. Don't care about people who will reject it. Just do it for the sake of creating.
Right.
And there you will find your flow. And ultimately, dun mo mahanap yung happiness at yung sagot sa anxiety mo during this pandemic.
Wow. Thank you for that. And
boom! Mayon!
Okay. So guys, that is your dose of inspiration for the week and for the weekend from Mr. Jay Jallorina, photographer.
Thank you, Noel. Thank you, Noel. Thank you, everyone, for those who stuck and watch. Dumami pa yung viewers as tapos tayo.
So guys, since dumami ulit, okay, so I want to thank Jay for coming on the show. And for those who are new here, there are 2 reasons why I have Behind the Shot and why I've been running it for a month now. It is our, I believe it's our 12th, so I think episode. I lost track. Anyway, so the first is that I initially thought of a way to keep people entertained and, get them to just stay at home and even for an hour, to keep them out of the streets. It's safer. And second, it's also to help amplify these talents here locally and abroad, especially those who have been affected by the COVID-19 and the lockdown, and those also who are working on the front lines. 2 weeks ago, we had photojournalists also who were consistently out and documenting and bringing to us the news, no? So and so I would like to ask everyone if you could like this video, because it really helps the video of Jay to rise up in the algorithm of YouTube, and more people can watch it and be inspired. And second, I'd like to for your consideration to subscribe, because it helps future guests on the show and the past guests also, and that notification as well. And finally, please do visit Jay Jallorina on Instagram and search for him on YouTube, because we have to help each other and amplify each other's work, because Jay is churning out such great stuff and more people have to be inspired for it.
Sabi ni Kim Maynard, good, parang Tulfo daw.
Oh, yun nga eh. Ganda. Okay, dapat pala naka-mask ka, no? Tapos i-reveal ka natin at the video.
Oo nga, grabe.
Para mas enjoy. So Jay, thank you very much for joining me on the show. Please stay on our
guys,
Zoom.
my pleasure.
Zoom conversation. I will just close the show. So Jay, thank you. Say goodbye to your fan base, yung YouTube chapter mo.
Hindi ko fans yan, friends yan. Friends yan.
Fans and friends.
Wala akong fans, friends lahat yan. Kasi if you're a fan, you're my friend.
Max. Okay. Ganda. Parting words from... Ang daming quotable quotes ni Jay today. All right, Jay. Thank you very much for joining us.
Bye, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Noel. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe.
All right, and that was Jay Jallorina. I didn't expect this episode to be so resonating, and thank you, Jay, for that. We all need something like that, especially for the end of the week. No, I have to say that most of the episodes were really focused on the photography, and no one really talked about what was going on mentally and emotionally in people's heads, the creators' heads, how they feel in the pandemic, and how they feel when they're creating. So thank you, Jay, for bringing that to light. Thank you for the vehicle and being very, very instrumental. So Jay, I know you're still listening because you're still on Zoom. So Kim Maynard Go said, joking aside, still great talk. So for you guys who have just joined us, these were the guys that we had for this week. We had Chris Magsino for episode 10 last Monday. We had Jen Perez, the charming, the disarming Jen Perez last Wednesday, with her electric fan that made it more visceral. No? She was playing videos of wild horses, tas yung fan niya parang tumitigidig din. So, such an immersive, visceral experience for us. I'll never forget that. And, correct, episode 12 for today, Jay Jallorina. Thank you for book ending this week. Next week, we have wedding storytellers, Toto Villaruel, Jaja Samaniego, and of course, Jason Bagbanwa, who basically turned the industry, the wedding videography industry on its head. The reason also I wanted these guys here is because June is, of course, the month, usually the peak month for weddings, and everyone's grasping for straws because everyone can't, have events. And I wanted them on board so that they could see, they could show us how it is for them, what they have been doing. I know Toto has just completed one shoot in full PPE gear and has another shoot on June 9. So, yeah, please watch out for that next week. So if you subscribe to my channel, you will get an update for these guys. So again, behind the shot, please follow me also on Instagram. If you like sharks and polar bears, then that's what you'll get on Instagram. Behind the Shot is brought to you by Deity Microphone. So guys, have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay at home, and I'll see you on Monday. Cheers, guys.